certain, historical data is just...
That's obsolete.
It's obsolete, yeah.
It's not relevant anymore.
It's not relevant. So we have to be careful about
I'm not just blindly following.
Yeah, not blindly following the past.
Thinking that, oh, because this worked then, it's going to work now.
Exactly.
Because things change.
They do.
The world is constantly evolving.
It is, yeah.
This whole conversation about learning from history carefully makes me think about bubbles.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious to hear Housel's take on those.
Well, he says, bubbles, they're often driven by
Yeah.
short-term traders.
Oh, okay.
Who are just chasing momentum.
Got 'em.
Rather than,
Irrational, long-term investors.
yeah, who think this is going to go up forever.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a case of people being like, oh, this is going to...
This is going to go to the moon.
Yeah, go to the moon, I'm going to buy it.
It's more like, okay, I'm going to ride this wave.
Ride this wave.
As long as it lasts.
As long as it lasts.
And then jump off
Okay.
before it crashes.
That still seems risky.
Oh, it is super risky.
Because isn't that how people get burned when the bubble bursts?
Yeah, but his point is that when an asset is consistently going up,
Yeah.
it's not irrational for short-term traders to jump on board.
Because for a while, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
The more people buy, the higher the price goes.
Yeah.
Which attracts even more buyers.
And it creates this frenzy.
Yeah, and it's hard to resist.
Oh, yeah.
You get that FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Everybody wants in on the action.
Yeah, and it becomes this game of musical chairs.
Where nobody wants to be the last one standing.
Yeah, when the music stops.
The music stops.
And this all ties back to
human psychology.
Human psychology, we're wired.
We're wired for this.
Yeah.
We're wired to follow the crowd.
To follow the crowd, to see a trend and be like,
I want to be part of that.
yeah, I don't want to miss out.
I don't want to miss out.
Yeah, and it makes me think of another concept that Housel talks about.
Yeah.
The power of narratives.
Oh, yeah.
We create these stories.
To explain things.
To explain things.
Even if those stories aren't true.
Yeah, even if they're not entirely accurate.
Yeah, our brains, they love patterns.
Yeah, we're always looking for patterns.
Even when there aren't any.
Even when they're not there.
Yeah, and those narratives, those stories,
Yeah.
they can have a huge impact on our behavior.
Especially when it comes to money.
Yeah, especially our financial decisions.
And he uses this really powerful example.
Yeah.
The 2008 financial crisis.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, and he's basically saying
that even though there wasn't widespread
physical damage.
Yeah, buildings collapsing.
Yeah.
A war or something.
Right.
The narrative of a collapsing economy had a devastating impact
on people.
For people's behavior.
Yeah.
Their spending.
It created this fear and uncertainty.
People pulled back.
Yeah.
They stopped spending.
They stopped investing.
Yeah. Which actually made things worse.
It made things worse.
It became a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So this narrative, even though it wasn't based on, tangible destruction.
Yeah.
It still had this huge impact.
A psychological impact.
Yeah, because it shaped people's
behavior.
Yeah, and this also ties back to his point about, historical context.
Yeah.
Because people who had lived through the Great Depression.
They reacted very differently.
To
2008.
Yeah, because they had a different story in mind.
They get a different narrative
Yeah.
that shaped their experience.
It's so fascinating how these narratives,
both personal and collective,
can shape our actions.
It really can.
This makes me think about Housel's chapter on pessimism.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting.
It is.
Because he talks about why pessimistic outlooks are often seen as
More credible
yeah.
than optimistic ones.
Yeah, even though, history shows that the world
has generally improved.
For most people.
For most people, yeah.
Over time. But yet we still tend to believe.
Yeah, the pessimist.
I'm being gloom.
It's like that saying, right?
Pessimists sound smarter.
Pessimists sound smarter.
It's like, oh, they're more realistic.
Yeah, they're in tune with the risks.
Yeah.
The potential downsides.
And Housel says, this is because pessimism taps into
our fears.
Our anxieties.
Yeah, our natural negativity bias.
Yeah, we're wired to focus on the negative.
And he even mentions that Wall Street Journal article.
Oh my gosh.
From 2008.
That predicted the U.S. would break up into 6 pieces.
I remember that article.
It was wild.
It was crazy.
But it illustrates his point that
pessimism, even when it's extreme, can seem more believable.
More believable than optimism.
Especially during times of uncertainty.
Which is when we need optimism the most.
Exactly.
And so he's not saying that we should ignore the risks or pretend everything's perfect.
No, not at all.
But he's encouraging us to be aware of the allure of pessimism.
To be mindful of it.
And to remember that over the long run,
optimism
Optimism is often a more rational perspective.
Especially when you look at how far we've come as a society.
Yeah, like despite all the challenges.
Yeah, the wars, the famines.
The pandemics.
We've made incredible progress.
Yeah, life expectancy has gone up. Poverty has gone down.
Technology has advanced.
Yeah, there's a lot to be optimistic about.
There is.
And that optimism can actually help us
make better decisions.
Make better decisions, yeah. Because if we're always fearing the worst, we might miss out on opportunities.
Or make impulsive choices based on fear.
Yeah, it's about finding that balance.
Between being aware of the risks,
yeah,
but also having a healthy sense of optimism.
So it's not about being naive or ignoring potential problems.
No.
It's about approaching them with a balanced perspective.
With a clear head.
Yeah, and not letting fear paralyze us.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about learning from history carefully.
Yeah.
The psychology of bubbles.
The power of narrative.
The allure of pessimism.
And through it all, Housel's main point is our behavior, our emotions, they have a greater impact
on our financial success
than
our intelligence or even our investment strategies. It's not just about being smart.
No.
It's about understanding ourselves.
Yeah.
How our minds work.
When it comes to money.
When it comes to money.
Yeah.
Which brings us to what Housel considers money's greatest intrinsic value.
Okay.
Freedom.
Yeah.
And control over your time.
This is a big one.
This is a big one.
And it's something that a lot of people really resonate with.
Yeah, I think deep down, that's what we all want.
We want freedom.
Yeah.
We want control over our lives.
To be able to choose.
To choose how we spend our time.
Yeah.
And he argues that money...
It gives you that.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
That can provide you with those options.
Yeah.
Those choices.
It's about breaking free.
From financial constraints.
From that feeling of being trapped.
Having to work a job you hate.
Yeah.
Just to make ends meet.
Just to survive.
Yeah.
And so he wants us to see money
as a tool for creating a life we love.
Yeah, not just
accumulating wealth.
For wealth's sake.
For the sake of it.
Yeah.
It's about what that money can do for you.
How it can enhance your life.
Yeah.
And he gives some personal anecdotes about how he's applied this in his own life.
Yeah, he talks about quitting his job.
To become a musician.
A musician, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was a decision that,
prioritized his passion.
His passion, his fulfillment.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't make sense.
From a traditional
financial perspective.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people would have said,
"You're crazy.
You're crazy. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But for him, it was about
living a life that was true to himself.
Yeah.
And I think that's so inspiring.
It is.
Because he's not just talking the talk.
He's walking the walk.
He's walking the walk.
He's living his philosophy.
And it makes his message
even more powerful.
Even more powerful. Yeah.
Because you can see that it's possible to achieve both financial security and personal fulfillment.
They're not mutually exclusive.
They're not.
You can have both.
You can.
So it's inspiring, right? Like you can have both. But how do we get there? How do we actually put all this into practice? Where do we even start?
Well, Housel really emphasizes the importance of awareness. We need to become more conscious of our own money psychology.
Yeah.
The beliefs and biases and all those emotions.
Yeah, that baggage.
Yeah. That baggage that we bring to the table, that drives our decisions.
Because it's like shining a light on those subconscious patterns.
Yeah.
That often sabotage us.
Right. We're not even aware.
We're not even aware.
Of why we're making certain choices.
Yeah, why did I just buy that thing?
Exactly. And once you understand those patterns, then you can start to make more conscious decisions.
Okay, so if you realize
that
you have a tendency to
impulse buy.
Yeah. Or get caught up in the latest investment fad.
Yeah, the next big thing.
You can actually develop strategies.
Yeah, to counteract that.
Okay, so what are some strategies?
Well, setting a budget.
Oh, the dreaded budget.
Yeah, I know, but it can be really helpful.
Okay, so budget.
Maybe creating a waiting period.
Oh, yeah.
For big purchases.
That's a good one.
If you want to buy something.
Yeah.
Give yourself a couple of days.
Yeah, sleep on it.
Yeah, sleep on it. See if you really...
You still want it.
Yeah, if you still want it.
After a few days.
Yeah, maybe talk to a financial advisor.
Oh, yeah. Get some advice.
Yeah, get some objective advice.
From someone who's not,
emotionally invested.
Emotionally invested, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that, personal finance is not one size fits all.
Absolutely not. It's what works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah, and it's okay.
To break the rules.
Yeah, to deviate from, conventional wisdom.
If it makes sense for you.
Yeah.
For your situation.
Housel, he gives this example where he talks about his decision to, like, pay off his mortgage early.
Oh, yeah.
Even though, like, financially, it might have made more sense.
To invest that money?
Yeah, to invest that money.
In the stock market or something.
Yeah, but for him,
yeah,
the peace of mind.
Of owning his home outright.
Yeah.
Outweighed the potential financial gains.
Yeah, so it was more about,
yeah,
like, aligning his financial decisions
yeah,
with his personal values.
His priorities.
His priorities, yeah.
And that's really what it's all about, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's like money is a tool.
It is.
And we should use it.
In a way that,
supports our goals.
Supports our goals, makes us happy.
Yeah.
Brings us peace of mind.
And that brings us back to, like,
yeah,
Housel's main message.
the big takeaway.
Yeah.
From the psychology of money.
Yeah.
It's not about getting rich quick.
No.
It's not about,
mastering some complex.
Yeah, complex investment strategy.
Yeah, that nobody understands. It's about understanding yourself.
Understanding yourself, yeah.
Your own psychology.
And making choices.
Yeah.
That lead to, like, true
happiness.
Fulfillment.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
Into the psychology of money.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But ultimately,
yeah,
the biggest lesson is
that financial success.
Yeah.
It's not just about numbers.
It's about understanding
yourself
and making choices that create a life.
You have a life that's meaningful. Yeah. And purpose.
And we hope you enjoyed this deep dive.
We hope you learned something.
Maybe you had some aha moments.
Yeah.
And we'll leave you with one final thought.
Housel says that the best decisions aren't always the most rational.
Okay.
At some point, you have to choose
between
being happy, or
being right.
Being right.
Where do you land on that spectrum?
That's a good question.
That's something to think about.
As you continue your own journey with money.
Your own personal finance journey.
Yeah.
And remember, it's a journey.
It is.
It's not a destination.
No,
it's about finding
what works for you.
What works for you.
And creating a financial life.
That supports
your overall well-being.
Your well-being, yeah.
That's what it's all about.